This is a picture of a patient who has incisional hernia. As you can see, an incision here in the midline, and the abdomen is distended. These type of hernias has a high chance to develop adhesions with the intestine and the omentum, which leads to obstruction or sometimes strangulation of the intestine. So these type of hernias are more prone to make prone to complicate. So what is the treatment? For example, if the hernia is asymptomatic, is not causing any problem like pain or obstruction, in such cases the observation is all which is required. And for majority of incisional hernia, surgery is relatively straightforward if surgery is indicated, and both open and laparoscopic options are available. Means these type of hernias can be repaired laparoscopically. The principle is that the repair should cover the whole length of previous incision. Approximation of the musculofacial layers should be done with minimal tension. This is important, that there shouldn't be any tension when you repair the abdominal wall. And in such cases, prosthetic mesh is of great help. This is a picture here. A surgeon is repairing an incisional hernia. You can see the skin has been removed along with the contents are there, and contents will eventually be reduced in the abdominal cavity inside, and then this defect here will be repaired with non-absorbable suture material and reinforced with a prosthetic mesh. Next is Spigelian hernia. The name is very atypical, and this is interstitial hernia. You can see here in the picture a small diffuse bulge present in the left iliac fossa, and these hernias usually are present more in men than usually they are same. Men and women are equal affected, and these hernias through the defect in the Spigelian fascia, which is epineuritis of the transversus abdominis muscle. They are found anywhere along the Spigelian line, and they should be, whenever they are causing symptoms or they are causing obstruction to the bowel, then they should be operated upon, and the abdominal wall should be repaired appropriately with non-absorbable sutures after reducing the contents into the abdominal cavity. Now the lumbar hernia, they are rare, and mostly lumbar hernias occur through the inferior lumbar triangle of Petit, which is bounded below by the crest of ilium, as we already know, laterally by external oblique, and medially by the latissimus dorsi. And you can see lumbar hernias can be approached by open or laparoscopic surgery. The defect can be difficult to close with sutures, and mesh is recommended. See here, these hernias are not the interior, the ventral hernias, but they are more at the lateral side of the abdominal wall. See here, this is where the hernia it looks like from behind. And this is parastomal hernia. Stoma means an opening, para means around. So when surgeon creates a stoma such as colostomy or ileostomy, they are effectively weakening the abdominal wall, they are incurring the hernia actually by bringing bowel out through the abdominal wall. So in such cases, parastomal hernia chances are over 50%. More than half the cases may develop a small or a significant parastomal hernia. It is a tricky situation, and ideally the stoma should be closed and the bowel should be rejoined, but this is not always possible. Various open sutures and mesh techniques have been described to repair the parastomal hernia, but failure rates are high. Sometimes resiting the stoma is also advisable. Now, the most common of the hernias is inguinal hernia. Strictly speaking, this is not a true ventral hernia, which we have already discussed, the umbilical, the paraumbilical, the epigastric. This is present in the inguinal area, and it is most commonly done of hernia operation in surgical practice. Most common hernia in men and women, but much more common in men. And there are two basic types, fundamentally different in anatomy, causation, and complications. The indirect hernia and the direct hernia, there are two basic types. Indirect hernia usually is a congenitally present peritoneal sac, and this is called indirect because the hernia passes through both the deep ring and the superficial ring. While the direct hernia, which is present in the elderlies, and they are direct because they are not passing through the deep inguinal ring, they are just coming out from the posterior weakened wall of the inguinal canal. So basic anatomy of the inguinal canal: as the testis descends from the abdominal cavity to the scrotum in the male, it first passes through the circle shaped defect called deep inguinal ring in the transversalis fascia and just deep to the abdominal muscles. The inferior epigastric vessels just lie medial to the deep inguinal ring, so they make the medial boundary of the deep inguinal ring. And then the transversus muscle and the internal oblique muscle, the two of the three muscles of the abdominal wall, they arch over the deep inguinal ring. They don't cover the deep inguinal ring, but they arch over it from lateral to medial, and coming together form a tendon, that is called a conjoint tendon because of the two muscles joined together, and they arches over the deep ring. So a weakness is formed in that part, and only transversalis fascia is present. No muscles. Transversalis fascia is only present in that part of the posterior abdominal wall. And testis finally emerge through the V-shaped defect in the external oblique aponeurosis, which is called superficial ring, and then it descends into the scrotum. So this is the anatomy. A weak, because of the arching over of the muscles of the abdominal wall, the muscles are deficient, and the part below, which is just covered by the transversalis fascia, and that's why they are weak. So here you can see the diagrammatic representation: deep inguinal ring, superficial inguinal ring, and the sac, and this red arrow shows how the contents can enter into the deep ring and going into the scrotum. See here the intestine passing in from the deep ring, coming to the superficial ring and entering into the scrotum. While looking at seeing the patient with inguinal hernia, we have to have these different causes in our mind which may well be present. This is the differential diagnosis of the inguinal hernia. The lymph node, it could be a lymph node in the groin, a groin mass, which may be a new plastic mass in the groin lymph nodes, an abdominal mass, a hydrocele, which is a fluid-filled tunica vaginalis around the testes. A femoral hernia is also comes as a differential diagnosis. Spigelian hernia as well. Saphena varix, which is a varicocele of the great saphenous veins, or a varicocele. So all these may come as a differential diagnosis of an inguinal hernia patient. A lymph node, a groin mass or abdominal mass, a hydrocele, a femoral hernia, all these comes as a differential diagnosis. So now, management of the inguinal hernia. Inguinal hernia is the most commonly frequently done operation of all the hernias. In early asymptomatic direct hernias, particularly in elderly who do not wish for surgical intervention, it is safe to recommend no active treatment, just a follow-up. Elective surgery for inguinal hernia is common and simple operation. It can be undertaken under local, regional, or spinal anesthesia with minimal risk even in high-risk patients. So the the it can be done under local anesthesia, spinal anesthesia, or general anesthesia. So whatever type of patient is there, without taking risk, we can perform this elective surgery. The types of operation which are recommended for management of inguinal hernia are herniotomy, which is just excision of the hernial sac. This is usually done in children. Herniorrhaphy, where you reduce the contents of the hernia, you excise the sac, and you do some sort of repair. Rhaphy means repair. So Bessini's repair. You repair the inguinal canal with sutures, so that reinforcing sutures, so that the weaker part of the inguinal canal is strengthened. You make a suture between the conjoint tendon, the arch fibers of the conjoint tendon, and the recurved part of the inguinal ligament. So this is called Bessini's repair. Or you can put a mesh rather than repairing with sutures, non-absorbable sutures. You can put a synthetic mesh in that area, and this is better than just putting sutures. Or you can perform laparoscopic inguinal hernia as well, whether totally extraperitoneal, which is called TEP, or trans-abdominal preperitoneal, which is called TAP. So laparoscopic hernia operation is also available. In summary, hernia is a protrusion of a viscous or part of a viscous through a defect in the abdominal wall. The term ventral hernia refers to hernias of the interior abdominal wall, and there are various types: umbilical and paraumbilical hernia, epigastric hernia, incisional hernia, parastomal hernia around the stomas, spigelian hernia, lumbar hernia, or the hernia which is formed because of the trauma to the abdominal wall. Note that inguinal and femoral hernias are not included even though they are ventral. We have discussed inguinal hernia in this presentation because of its commonality, and femoral hernias can be discussed as a separate topic because of its special nature. Thank you very much.